Hello everybody, Lisa here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another part in my 2022 deck collection series. So if you're new to this series, I'm just doing this to update my entire collection of decks, and today we're going to be doing the first half or so of my Oracle deck collection. I've been working through my full deck collection, working from A to Z in different categories, and this is the category we're in, and the letters are going to be somewhere around A to M. So let's get into it. But before I do, just a reminder that my entire deck collection evolution playlist will be linked up in the cards. So if you really want to geek out on how my collection has evolved over time, you'll find some of my oldest collection videos in that channel as well, or in that playlist rather, as well as these newer ones. So starting with the letter A, let's get into my Oracle deck collection. First up is the Affirmators Deluxe. This is an affirmation style deck. I don't know if I'd fully class it as an Oracle, but it's incredible. I love it so much. The decks have these really cool blingy backs. It's a linen cardstock. There are a ton of cards in here, and I've definitely talked about this in other videos on the channel. You can probably search up the name of any decks I'm talking about and find them, other videos where I've mentioned them. But these are really great. There's a cheeky sense of humor, and it gives you a fun little message. It's very uplifting, it's very affirmative, and it will kick your butt, but in the best possible kind of way. It's a great little deck. Next up, we have Alice the Wonderland Oracle. This is a Blue Angel deck on the beautiful matte cardstock. My copy is. It's lovely. This is artwork by Jasmine Beckett Griffith, and the guidebook is by Lucy Cavendish. This is so much fun. If you really like the Alice archetype or the Alice story, you'll really enjoy this deck, I think. I find it highly usable, and I love pairing it with my Alice Tarot. It's just really lovely, and the messages are great. The guidebook is great. I love this deck. It's pretty. It's got a pretty solid place in my collection, and it is in a standard size Peggy bag, which I'm guessing most of these Oracle decks will be in, but I'll let you know if I pull out a different size, just so you know. Next up is the Amethyst Oracle. This is by Jessica Bott. And she is the creator of, this is a small Peggy bag, by the way. She is the creator of the Idiosynchro deck, which has been out of print for a long time. She's currently working on the Jessica Tarot. She also has the Botanical Tarot and Oracle sort of box set. This particular deck is out of print. I don't know if she has any plans to bring it back, but I really love it. I love Jessica's art style, this sort of vector graphic style, and this one feels funky and modern, but also just, I feel like pairs with a lot of things really well, and I just really enjoy these keywords and images together. Like the brick wall for resistance is so good. The rock teetering on the edge of this cliff for precarious is amazing. I just really, really enjoy this deck. I love this card. It's so satisfying. I mean, there's just, and the chai card, so comforting. This is a great one, and it's definitely stood the test of time in my collection for sure. Next up is a sweet deck that I've used for a long, long time. This is the Animantras Oracle. This is by Katie Walsh. This deck, I think, is going to be coming out mass market at some point. I feel like I heard a rumor. I don't know if you can currently buy it, but I will have a link if you can down below. I edged mine in rainbow colors. This is a very like kid-friendly deck, and it has about 7 cards for each of the 7 chakras. And I really enjoy using this deck with my self-care chakra reading that I do for clients. I have lately been using a different chakra deck, but I really do enjoy this one, and this is an old standby for me. I love the energy in these cards. It does actually come with this, at least it did when I got it, this cute little bag, and there was a little guidebook, but I think I took that away, and I actually keep it with a set of chakra crystals. So if I want to do actual chakra work, I do typically reach for this sweet little kit, and I just kind of keep it all together, and just like that, so it's ready to go. Next up, we have the Avalonian Oracle. I've never heard anybody else really talking about this, and to be fair, this is not a deck that I'm actively using in my practice. This one is a standard Peggy bag. Okay, so the story with this one is that it's directly connected to the work that the Sisterhood of Avalon does, and books by Gina Talindru, who founded the Sisterhood of Avalon. And I spent several years doing spiritual work with this group, and so these cards have a very particular spiritual meaning to me, and at minimum are a really beautiful memento of my time in this spiritual group. And I did get a lot of personal healing and, gosh, so many like really important bits of my own personal spiritual growth happened in this group. So this is really just a collector sort of thing for me at this point. But I also feel like it's here for me if I ever want to dip back into the work that I did with a lot of these energies at that time. So this is the Avalonian Oracle. Again, I believe this one is still in print. It was a mass market, so you should still be able to get your hands on it. Next up is Book of the Dead. This is by Scylla Conway. Oh my gosh. This is so profound. I needed this deck in my life. This is specifically a deck that deals with sort of reincarnation and the afterlife, and very particularly sort of what happens after death. It's really powerful, really beautiful. The artwork is transportive. I love Scylla's art. It just takes me someplace really special. And this is the perfect deck when I want to connect to this specific energy, the energy of the space after death and before a new life. I just think it's a really profound, special deck in our deck world. I feel like there's just nothing else quite like this. The production is absolutely beautiful. It's super blingy. It does come in a nice box, but of course I have mine in a standard Peggy bag in this beautiful butterfly design because butterflies and death and like that whole thing. Love it. Next up, we have the Botanical Inspirations. I've also had this one for a really long time. This is a US Games deck. It's really beautiful and it pairs really well with a lot of things. This one's in a small Peggy bag. That gets annoying. I'll try not to keep doing it for every single one, but you'll get the idea. My standardish decks are in the smalls and my bigger ones are in the standards. Anyway, this is based on the Victorian language of flowers. It is really especially cool, I think, because of this parchment background, which helps it to pair with like any kind of older deck or older looking deck, like a Marseille or anything with like a vintage look. This pairs really beautifully with. But what I love about it is that it has these wonderful quotes on it. And then when you go into, I mean, the artwork is beautiful too, of course. It names the flower. It has the botanical name, has a keyword. I mean, it's really a very, very usable deck. But then when you go into the guidebook, you also get this inspirational message, which I found to be really, really potent and powerful. And I'll often write those in my journal when I work with this deck. And I don't do that a lot, write down bits from the guidebook. But with this one, I almost always will read something particularly profound in that section and then write it down. And I just think that's a really telling thing about a really, really good deck. And it comes in this really beautiful box. I love it. I wish it didn't have the name of the deck on the back. That's a pet peeve of mine, but it is really beautiful. And I still enjoy it quite a lot, and I've had it for a long time. This is brand new to my collection. I have not played with it at all yet. This was really generously sent to me by Levi, the creator of this deck. This is the Brother to Brother Oracle. I talked about this in a Hot Takes. I am so glad this deck exists. It is a masculine geared Oracle deck, and we don't ever get that. And it's so special that this was created by a male in our community who just cared to create something that could be used, you know, by anybody, obviously, but that kind of, I just think it's cool. I think it's cool because we get a lot of this style of Oracle deck, but it's usually very, very feminine in its focus. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I just think it's really cool that we get some, we get some boys in our like fun self-care style Oracle decks. I just think this is pretty great. But again, I have not worked with it yet, so I can't speak to it in too much detail yet, but this is all Levi's artwork and creation. And it's a great little indie deck. Look at this. And there is, oh, I wish I could find it. There it is. The unicorn card. And I love this because Levi loves unicorns like me and it makes me happy. So anyways, I love that a unicorn made it into this deck. I think it's so great. That is the Brother to Brother Oracle. And it does have a guidebook with it again. Still just getting to know it. But I wanted to mention it here because it is a part of my collection. This is another one that I've had for a very long time. Now this is actually in a large Peggy bag because it's a really awkward shape and size. These are the Buddha Doodles cards. Now I think somebody told me that there is some sort of a version of this that still exists. This features artwork by Molecules, who I've followed on Facebook for ages and ages and ages. She's probably like on Instagram or something now. Her artwork is delightful. It's very Buddhist in theme, obviously, but it's just sweet and it's comforting and it's affirmative. I actually had a couple of prints from Molly that used to hang in my yoga studio when I ran a yoga studio. I had her artwork hanging on my walls and I just think it's so great. I love it so, so much. And it's a very comforting and special deck. It's not one that I reach for a ton, but it's a really good one for like a daily card or a reminder or an altar card, that kind of a thing. It does beautiful work for that. That is the Buddha Doodles cards. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to pick up the pace. Next up is the Chicoli Oracle. I believe I did a whole video talking about the Chicoli Tarot and Oracle. I added keywords to my copy using a sort of rose or pink colored Sharpie so that I could put my own messages, because these oracle cards don't come with any keywords on the cards themselves or titles. I find this to be a very powerful deck for getting into sort of the wounded inner self. I find that to be very, very helpful. Anything shadowy, I feel like this does a really good job, and it's a very call out. If you like to be called out, I guess, by your cards, it does that very, 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 very well. It really will point your shadow out to you in my experience. Love this, and I love the Chicoli Oracle deck as well. Or, excuse me, the Chicoli Tarot deck as well, which is also in my collection. But I'll talk about that when we get to tarot. The Celtic Tree Oracle. This is another one that I have not worked with yet. I have a couple of OM related things to, oh gosh, this box is like a pain to open. It's not that bad, I'm just being whiny. I have a couple of OM things, including a class I've purchased from Kelly at The Truth and Story to learn the OM system. But I picked this set up because I thought it was really beautiful. It comes with this hardbound book, has like a quick reference guide on the the front pages and the back pages, so you can quickly reference your OMs. Has a spread guide thingy in here. There's there's like a little journal thing to journal your spreads, which is super cool. And then you have the actual cards in here. It's a great little set. This one doesn't feature keywords on the cards, but I wanted something that could help me tap into the sort of more OM style way of working with them. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I wanted something a little bit plainer to start with. I also do have a set of OMs to work with once I have spent some time learning the system. So that is the Celtic Tree Oracle set. And this is by Vanessa Card. The Color Mage Oracle. This one really just, people have opinions about this, and I totally get it, because I hear from people all the time who are like, that's just basically paint swatches, and it is what it is. It is what it is. But there's a really cool system with this. I have edged my cards so that I can also use these with my self-care chakra readings, because there are definitely cards here for each of the 7 chakras, which is great. Some of the chakras have more cards than others, which is fine. But they have really, really wonderful keywords. This one these are all the root chakra cards. And then we have all the sacral chakra cards. This is out of print. All the heart chakra cards, throat, third eye, and then we have all the crown cards here. I really, really think this is a cool deck. I don't see myself parting with it. I think it's something that can be used in a number of ways. And if you really want to do any kind of color work or color magic, I think this could be really cool for that. I mean, look at it. It's just beautiful. I actually keep it with this little chakra crystal that I got in a subscription box in this small Peggy bag. Next up, the Connected and Free Oracle. This isn't a real OG Peggy bag. This is before there were standard sizes, so it's not a standard size. This deck is currently out of print in North America, but I believe there is a French version that is mass market, so it must be, I'm sure it's going to come out mass market in North America too, I would assume. I freaking love this deck. I've gotten so much use out of it. It is one of my workhorse Oracle decks. I love the expansive keywords. I mean, so far there's been nothing I've pulled that I've been like, I need to consider getting rid of that in this whole video. But this one for sure is so locked into its spot in my collection. I could not even begin to imagine letting it go. It is just incredible. I love the keywords. I love that there are chakras in here. It's got a weird bow to it. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of bowed like this way. But I still use the crap out of it. The cardstock is pretty stiff on this indie version. So hopefully if it comes out mass market, it'll be a little bit easier to shuffle, but I love it and I love the artwork. Next up is the Divine Muses. Oh my gosh. I got this one at the Northwest Tarot Symposium from the creator herself, and I worked with this a bunch in November. In fact, at the time I'm filming this, I'm still working with it because I'm filming some of these videos in November, and I am freaking loving this deck. It's a vintage kind of collage-y feel, but oh my gosh, the book with this deck is so, so, so juicy and good. This was the anchor of a really incredible ancestor reading that I did in November. I feel like this is pretty safe in my collection, probably permanently, but we shall see. For now, I'm really, really enjoying my work with it. It's gorgeous. It's also on a lovely linen cardstock. So yeah, in case I haven't mentioned it, I will obviously have links for everything in the description box down below. Next up is the Devas of Creation deck by Scylla Conway. Oh My goodness, is this a powerful deck? So mine is actually still in order. I'm just getting to know it. I have not done extensive work with it yet, but it is a really, really powerful deck. The guidebook's incredible. You know that I'm already a fan of Scylla Conway's work. I love her Book of the Dead Oracle, and the Devas of Creation was, I think, really the first deck I ever heard of that she had created. And I am just so excited to get to know this. It looks really, really beautiful. And the guidebook entries, which I have kind of taken a little peek at, I mean, look at this. The guidebook entries are just stunning, and I'm really excited to get to know it. I also really love that there are images only and no keywords or titles on the cards, so that I could, in theory, work with it completely intuitively. I think that's really great. So love that. Next, we have the Earthbound Oracle by... I forget his name. Skull Candy is the artist's brand name. This is a mini Peggy bag. This is another really great all-rounder. This is one that I can pull out for anything. I love it. It really pairs well with nature-based decks. The artwork is great. The keywords are really expansive. And I feel like this one just lets me just key right into my intuition. I love it for that. It's so, so good. And again, very, very secure in my collection for sure. This is like a poker size too. So it's like a dream to shuffle. I don't know if this one is still in print, if you can still get it, but I will link to the artist's website or shop so you can take a look just in case. Oh, the Enchanted Map Oracle. This deck and I have gone on quite the journey. I had the original version. This is a rebuy because I had this version of this deck and I love it. It's by Colette Baron Reed. The artwork is by Jenna De La Grataglia. This was the original version of this, and then Hay House updated it. They did update some of the artwork, and I did like those changes, but they also changed the back design. They took out this parchment bit of border, and then they also took the parchment border and the parchment titles off the deck and gave them this more like this different font that was more modern and this like blue banner, and it completely changed the vibe of the deck. So I really like this original one, and I ended up repurchasing it even though I had traded my original one. And this is such a great deck. The one that I traded away was edged in different colors, I believe, if I remember correctly, and was fully trimmed. So it was borderless, but it still had these little parchment bits. So yeah, I really love this. This is a classic, and given the fact that it's already come back after leaving once, it's very unlikely to ever leave again. This is the very, very OG Peggy bag, when I even put little beads on the strings. That this deck lived in, so it's back in its original home, and all is right with the world again. This is another deck that I've had a long time. This is the Fairies Oracle. I think I talked about this in my 90s tarot video, which if I remember, I will link that up in the cards. This is Brian Froud's original Fairies Oracle, and I've had this copy since, my copy's beat up. I've had this since the 90s or early 2000s or whenever this came out. This deck is it's just astounding. It's astounding for Fae work. It's really, really powerful and wild, and there's nothing like it. The Heart of Fae Oracle, which came after this one, I did have that one. For a time, I found it easier to work with, but I did actually eventually trade it to a friend, and I have not regretted that decision because this one is like the original for me, and it holds all of that like wild Fae energy. The guidebook is incredible. This one's been around and really stood the test of time and is definitely still available today. You can get it and highly recommend. Here we have another Lucy Cavendish and Jasmine Beckett Griffith pairing. This is the Fairy Tale Oracle. My copy is glossy. I wouldn't mind having this in the matte version, but I'm not sure I'm going to bother repurchasing it because I'm now bonded to this copy. But it is delightful and has all the beautiful fairy tale vibes. I also have a really big hardbound book that the two of these creators collaborated on to give you sort of a magical look at fairy tales, which is a beautiful companion. It's not meant to be a deck companion, but it really lets you dive deep on some of the stories and sort of points out the magical correspondences that go into each story, which is really neat and includes retellings of a whole bunch of stories. It's just a really cool book. This is a really great deck, and I'm so glad I have it. It really speaks to, I feel like, more of the Grimms or the more original Hans Christian Andersen, etc. The original versions of the tales. It sort of connects us more to those, I feel like, than the more nice-ified modern renditions of the same stories. So I really enjoy this. If you like fairy tales, this is such a great little deck. So safe in my collection for sure. This next one is really new to my collection, and it's in a delightful crocheted bag that Krista over at Crochet Witch Wears made. This deck is actually made by Andy Taylor, and I am so in love with this deck. I've already used it in client readings a few times, and it's really stolen my heart. This is called, did I already say? It's called the Feel Your Chakras Oracle. What I love especially is that it's got a bunch of cards for each chakra, except for the crown chakra, which only gets 3, balanced, unbalanced, and overactive. Balanced, underactive, and overactive, rather. But then you get all these cards for all the other chakras, and each sort of chakra has its own card backs, which is so great. And then for each one, you get a message or a sort of meaning based on whether the chakra is underactive or overactive or balanced, which I think is really great and is super useful with the way that I do chakra readings for clients. So I love this so much. I am a huge fan, and this was actually gifted to me by Andy, which was so special. She actually came to the meetup that Dawn Michelle and I did at the Northwest Tarot Symposium and gifted me a copy of this, and I love it so much. And I love that it's in this like little cozy, like homemade, hand crocheted rainbow bag that is just so beautiful with little beads. And oh, this just makes me so happy. It's so cuddly and comforting, and oh, I love it. Oh, you guys, the Goddess on Earth Oracle just blew me away. This also has a gorgeous art book you can get, but it does come with a beautiful guidebook if you get the Oracle deck set. I hope this is still available. I will have a link for you. It is so profoundly powerful. It features photographs. It's each one, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I have the words. It is so potent. The photography in here is incredible. The women that modeled really stood in for a deity energy that really meant something to them or that they felt connected to. And there are the stories of the models are in the book. I mean, it's so, so good. And when it comes to really connecting with this kind of energy, this is such a powerful way to do that. And I love this. I just realized looking at this that this would probably pair in a really cool way with the Somnia Tarot. That's just a random thought for myself that I might remember at some point after filming all of these videos. But that is the Goddess on Earth Oracle, and I love it. Ah, yes, my OG Goddess Oracle. Hrana Janto and Sophia Marashinsky. This deck has been around for ages, and I love it. It is such a beautiful Goddess Oracle, and so far, no deck has really properly ever dethroned this from my collection, and it has kicked many a Goddess deck out of my collection, actually, because I love it so much. I have it in mind to one day trim the narrow borders off the sides and the top so that it feels more borderless. I have seen other people do that, and then I'll also maybe trim the white off the bottoms. I have to see if Dawn Michelle's done that. I bet she has. I just probably can't remember right now, but this is so beautiful. The guidebook is incredible. It gives you like a little poem for each of these figures and ways to connect with them, like a little ritual you can do. It's so powerful, and I love it so, so much. This is brand new to my collection, the Heart Align Affirmations Oracle by Kimberly San, the same creator that did the Spread Machine Oracle and the little quest that I was gushing about in another collection video where I was talking about my other and Lenormand decks. This is such a beautiful, sweet affirmation deck. I have not had a chance to work with it yet, so I will definitely keep you all posted. But one of the really special things about this little affirmation deck, let me zoom you in, is that you get these gorgeous affirmations, but then there is this beautiful spot gloss heart on every card that is meant so that you can read the message. So in this case, it says, "You are enough." And then you can put your thumb on it and just kind of imagine yourself pulling that message or drawing that energy into yourself. And I thought that was so incredibly innovative and beautiful for a deck like this. Like, you exist. You are not alone. Like, you deserve to be treated with kindness. Like, when you really need that message, it's there for you. And I mean, it is stunning production quality on this deck. First of all, with the rainbow holographic detailing and the spot gloss, it's a really, really beautiful little deck. I'm so, so pleased. This was sent to me by Kim so I could take a look at it, but gosh, I am like really blown away by it. I wasn't expecting to be so astounded by it, but it is a very powerful little thing from what I've seen so far, and I can't wait to do some actual like real-time work with it. But that is the Heart Align Affirmations Oracle by Kimberly San. Next up is the Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck. This is so great. I have not yet found anything that will unseat this from my collection. I don't feel like I need a lot of astrology decks, but I feel like this one does astrology oracle deck thing real well, especially if you don't know astrology very well. There is cards in here for the planets, for the signs, for the houses, and some major aspects, which is really great. and each one has keywords on it, which is especially wonderful. I find this really, really helpful. I actually did, when I was studying astrology, pull big chunks of my chart and of Peggy's chart using these cards, and took photos and made a little journal about it so I could do some work writing and learning about my personal astrology, and it was so helpful for that. I wouldn't say that I reach for this a ton, but I don't reach for any astrology deck a ton, and I do want to have one close at hand. It has unseated other oracle, astrology-based oracle decks from my collection, and it's really held its own, so it is definitely secure for the time being, but I really enjoy it. It comes with a beautiful hardbound book, but you can definitely use it right out of the box, and because there are little meanings on every card, you can definitely just shuffle and draw cards for yourself and, you know, use it like a traditional oracle. I just haven't really used it that way. Oh my gosh, the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle is an oracle deck that gets a ton of use in my collection. This is the second copy of it I've owned. I had another copy, but it was glossy, so when it came out on this beautiful matte cardstock that Blue Angel has been switching to, I immediately scooped it up because I use this a ton. It is my go-to oracle deck that I use in my past life readings. I base my past life readings using other decks, but this one is a part of that set of decks that I use. I very rarely deviate from this anymore. I used to sort of switch out the oracle deck I used in that reading, but this is so beautiful. Rasuli's artwork is incredible, and Kelly Sullivan Walden did such a great job of pulling messages in that feel connected to that sort of dreamlike world that Rasuli illustrates, but also sort of grounding it in practical advice and wisdom, and connecting it to the hero's journey, and making it a useful deck if you want to do dream work. It's actually a really cool deck, and one that I think is often overlooked. I don't hear anybody talking about it anymore, but it is such a powerful tool in my collection, and I love it so much. The Illuminated Earth Oracle has also been in my collection for a really long time. This is a Pacific Northwest-based artist, Claire Mack. Oh my gosh, I still have the botanicals. They're falling apart now, but I've always kept them in the box because I love their energy so much, but I usually keep them in the bottom. So I think I'm going to put them back there. Oh no, I love that they are there to bring that beautiful cedar energy into my deck. May seem a little silly, but I love it. There's a little guidebook. I bought this the moment I saw it on Samantha Menzo's channel. She just this was totally a Samantha Menzo made me buy it deck. I literally got like 3 cards into her walkthrough of this deck and bought it immediately. It's very nature-based. It's a little bit abstract in some of the images, but I love the keywords. I feel like if I bought this deck today, I feel like I'd be a lot pickier about it in a way because some of the keywords feel more like titles, but many of them feel very expansive. And I've definitely built a relationship with this deck over time. I will say I don't reach for it nearly as much as I used to, but I can't imagine letting it go. I just feel like it has that sort of solid place in my collection of decks that I see it feeling pretty stable. Like it doesn't feel like it's at risk, which actually I haven't come across anything yet that really feels like it's at risk. So that's good. That is the Illuminated Earth Oracle. This is actually a prototype of the I'm Here Oracle deck created by Murphy Pines. This is a Kickstarter that I also backed. Very, very excited for the full version of this deck to come out. This is a full version, but it's a prototype version, if that makes sense. I'm waiting for the Kickstarter version to come out, but it's really a beautiful self-care deck. I haven't really worked with this much. I feel like I've just been waiting for the full version to arrive so that I can let myself, I guess, bond to it. But it's so, so pretty, and it's got this gorgeous, like, gender-neutral style of artwork where you can really see these spirit creatures being anybody. You can really, see yourself in them if you choose, which I think is really special. And it's a beautiful sort of emotional self-care kind of deck that just goes to places other than the stereotypical, like take a bath kind of thing. I just think it's really beautiful. It's meant to be a real energetic hug deck, and it really does feel that way. But to be fair, I haven't used it a ton since I got it because I think I've just been kind of holding out to see what the final version one will be like. So, but that is a little prototype of the I'm Here Oracle deck by Murphy Pines. The Infinite Wisdom of the Chakras. This deck is going to go into, this is going to be the first one that I think is at risk. I'm going to set this aside. Anything that's at risk is going to go into a bin, and I'll consider them for a future episode of This or That, which is a series I do here on the channel where I try to determine, you know, I pair decks up against other decks in my collection to see which one I want to keep. This one is one I'm really not sure about because I have some other chakra decks that are really speaking to me right now, but it is a really, really beautiful chakra-based oracle deck. I do really love the artwork. It just feels a little slim to me, so I'm just not sure. I have worked with it a bit in client readings, but I'm still sort of getting to know it, so we shall see. But it is going into my maybe pile to be considered for This or That. Next up is the Little Cryptid Oracle. Oh my gosh, this is another prototype that was sent to me from the creator. This is another Kickstarter deck, and it is so dang cute. I'm pretty attached to this little deck, actually. It is delightful. It features wonderful little cryptids, this charming artwork. The creators of this deck they just hit it out of the park. It's absolutely gorgeous. The keywords on every card really make it usable, and the keywords are really expansive. So here you have Big Bird, but you have balance. Thunderbird, vision. So if you don't know who Skunk Ape is, you've got the keyword, freedom. And there's even these like cute little cards that give you a quick little snapshot of the meaning of each card. But I believe we hit the stretch goal on the campaign for this one to get a more descriptive, like a field guide style guidebook. So like an actual guidebook with the full version. But this is the little prototype type copy. I followed this like a stalker on Instagram when they were sharing images as it was being created, and I just think it's so cute. So, so cute. Love the Little Cryptid Oracle. Next up is Little Bug. I love this deck. I really wasn't sure, and Joanna actually sent me this deck because I'm such a humongous fan. I shill the Mons Tarot so much that she created. I have like 3 copies of the Mons Tarot in different formats, but she actually sent me the Little Bug Oracle because I wasn't sure if I was going to want it or not, because every time I get anything, it kind of competes with Mons Tarot, and then I don't know, it just doesn't end up sitting like in the long run, and it just, anyways. But the Little Bugs completely stole my heart, and I really personalized this deck for me by writing a keyword or key phrase on every card using a fine point, what do you call those? A micron pen, like a micron, I don't know, fine liner, a micron fine liner. I wrote my own keywords and key phrases and kind of tucked them into the artwork in different spots and really personalized this deck for myself because I'm really funny about wanting like keywords, like themes, ideas, rather than titles on oracle cards. So I just made it my own. And I freaking love these guys. I love Joanna's artwork so, so much. And these pair obviously perfectly with the Mons Tarot. I haven't yet paired them with much else, but I don't feel like I need to because, of course, the Mons Tarot does see a decent amount of use in my collection. Love the Little Bug Oracle. It's delightful. So charming, and I'm so glad that Joanna made an oracle from this universe because I love the Mons Tarot world so much. I love this deck. It's so cute. The Love Story Oracle. Oh, this one is at risk, I think. I just never think to use it, and I kind of anti-hauled it. I probably shouldn't have bought it in the end. But it feels kind of limiting whenever I use it, and I don't know. So this is going to go into the maybe bin to be considered for This or That, but it is really an oracle deck designed to use in love and romance readings, but I don't know, like I see soul connection or commitment, and it's like, but what if that's not my question? I don't know. It just feels, the type of readings I do and the people I tend to read for, it just feels so limiting. And I definitely have used it in client readings, which was really where I thought it was going to shine. And it still made me feel too boxed in. But gosh, Deja's artwork is so freaking beautiful. I love it so much. And I really, really respect her work. But I just don't know about this one. So I think this is going to go into the maybe in danger, the maybe in danger bin, because yeah, I just don't know, but it is so beautiful. This is a great deck. So this is actually my personalized combination of cards from the Messenger Oracle, the second edition version, new edition, I think the listing will say on Amazon, and the Seeker Oracle, which was the newer deck by Raven Falon. These have the same backing and the same form factor and the same cardstock, so it was really fun to sort of personalize this deck. This is a small Peggy bag, by the way. And my personalized deck fits beautifully, but it isn't all the cards. I took out all the cards that I felt were redundant. I did a whole video about it, which I will try to remember to link, but we'll see. We'll see in editing if I actually catch myself telling you that. I will try to link it, but you can always search it up on my channel. Beautiful artwork by Raven Falon. Her artwork is something really spectacular. I ended up not keeping, oh, there's some botanicals still from the Illuminated Earth. I ended up not keeping the her tarot deck, which is called, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name right now. Somebody's going to be yelling at their screen. I did a lot of really incredible work with her tarot deck, but then it was like our time was done. And I'm so grateful that I have this Oracle deck to still connect with her astounding artwork. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. This is such a great little deck. And I just love all these key phrases and the vibrancy of color in all this artwork. It's gorgeous. I love it. It's got that real fantasy art vibe too, which I really appreciate. Next up is the Mists of Avalon Oracle. This is in, oh gosh, Peggy did embroidery for a while, and this is one of her embroidered bags with Stonehenge on it, and it's so pretty. The Mists of Avalon Oracle, to be fair, I really have not worked with this, like hardly at all, but I have zero desire to get rid of it. I don't really have a lot of decks that fall into this Arthurian work space, and this one seems really special to me. I really, really love the vibe of this. It really does feel a little bit like it has some loose threads that connect me to the book series, The Mists of Avalon, which I do really love. And I love these keywords that come around the whole border. I love the choice of cards here. We have the White Spring, the Priestess of Avalon, the Sacred Grove, Nimue, the King of the Fairy Realm, Guinevere, Chalice Hill, the White Heart, Fairy. I feel like this is so wonderful for connecting to the sacred landscape of Glastonbury, Morgan Le Fay. We have a unicorn card, so I mean, clearly I have to keep it. The Holy Grail. I love that we have the Isle of Avalon card. Lady of the Lake. This feels very, I love this Glastonbury tour image. It's so beautiful. This landscape and this mythos is really, really important to me personally, and this one feels the most in alignment with my own spiritual work experiences. In a way, I kind of like this better than the actual Avalonian Oracle, which is directly connected to that time I spent in the Avalonian path. But this is so beautiful. Yeah, no desire to get rid of it, but I don't really use it a ton. I've got to think of ways to work it into my practice a little bit more, I think. So beautiful. This deck, okay, so this actually arrived as a totally unexpected surprise from one of the creators who had it sent to me, the Modern Nirvana Oracle. It was really a fun surprise to receive this. I have not worked with it yet, so this is brand new in my collection, at least at the time I'm filming this. This is from the makers or the creators of the Amethyst Oracle. I've got some little notes that the creator sent me in there. This is really cool. I'm really super intrigued by this. I talked about it in my hot takes, and that is why the creator sent it to me. They're like, oh, it looks like you really need to play with this. I'm not sure. Like, I see this first card and I'm like, yes. And there's a lot of really cool cards in here, but then there's these sigil ones, and I'm not sure how I feel about those, but the keywords are so good in here. I've kind of flipped through it, and I really like the keywords. So I really want to spend a little time getting to know this and working with it before I decide what it's going to look like in or not in my collection. I really need to find out, but I'm excited to get to know it. It's definitely in my grouping of decks that are yet to be worked with for me to explore and see if it's meant to be, but it's definitely not going into any kind of an at-risk category because I haven't gotten to know it yet. But that is the Modern Nirvana Oracle. And the last one in today's A through M of my Oracle deck is the Multi-Dimensional Devas. Now this is a follow-up to the Devas of Creation by Scylla Conway. Now these two decks actually live together in this divided standard Peggy bag, but look at these backs, and this one is gilded. Same sort of deal as the Devas of Creation, only this goes into a different sort of realm. Again, this one is also in order, and I have not spent a lot of time with it yet. I'm hoping to get some dedicated time to get to know it better. So, again, Scylla's artwork, I'm such a huge fan. Her artwork is just, again, it's so transportive. Really excited. The cardstock on this is different than the Devas of Creation. And the backs are different and such. I wouldn't mix them, I don't think. They are the same size, I believe, but right now I have no desire to mix them. But the nice thing about this Peggy bag is there's a little cotton divider, so I can keep them each on their side of the bag and play with them individually, but know that they're sort of part of the same family. So that is the last one for today's A through M in my Oracle collection. We will get together again, and I will take you through O through Z. In the meantime, thank you so much, all of you, for watching this video. An extra big thank you goes out to the Unicorn fam for supporting what I do here. It really makes a difference. Thank you so much. To everybody watching, thank you for sharing your time here in this space. You choosing to spend your time here really makes all of this worth doing, so thank you so much. Please do like, share, subscribe, do all of the fun, good YouTubey things, because that is a huge help. Thank you all so much, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye!